Hello everyone, GeneralApple here, and today I want to speak with you about something that's really important to me, especially now after this channel got quite a lot of attraction from my recent Magic the Gathering and TFT videos, which I'm super happy for. But I want to be honest with you guys that watch me for my Magic content about why I wasn't as frequent as I should have been with my Magic videos, even though I was constantly uploading TFT videos. And basically, this is gonna be a mild rant. I'm gonna keep it short, under 10 minutes. So if you guys want to leave the video because you're uninterested, this is completely fine with me. If you want to stay, then please make sure you tell me what you think in the comment below, because I do read and answer all the comments. Now, I do want to start by saying that I quit Magic for a month and a half whenever we had the previous expansion, because I was just burnt out from the current meta and I waited for this new expansion, the Outlaws in Thunderyard Junction. And it seemed like a really cool expansion. I really did enjoy the spoilers, the cards looked amazing, and I really couldn't wait until the expansion hits and I get to test new cards. But whenever I tried to make decks, you can see them right here. These are two really cool decks that I experimented them. I can show you. This is my more recent one. This is basically a Simic deck that utilizes a lot of new cards. Basically the Smuggler Surprise, alongside the Ancient Cornucopia. We got the Make Your Own Luck. We got the Bony Pal. A lot of cool cards featured in the new expansion. And whenever I try to test this deck, this is like the finalized version, this is the best version I can think of, I just ended up encountering the same fate as I had with the other deck, which is I just lose to Esper and Boros Convoke. It's that simple. The entire meta is just super garbage right now, and you literally cannot play anything that goes above turn 5 unless you're playing Atraxa. Control is basically totally dead. If you play the current meta, you already know this. I have featured an Azorius deck that is kinda good in the previous video, because I really do love Azorius. It's my favorite color combination in the entire game. That's 2-colored, of course. And yeah, basically other than this Azorius deck, which is basically borderline tier 3 deck, it can even consider lower than that. Yeah, nothing works. Nothing in terms of control works, simply because all the huge threats in the game are under 3 mana. And I'm talking about Preacher of the Schism, I'm talking Raffine, I'm talking this god-awful Cavern, Deep Cavern Bat. This is the best card in the game. I still have no idea why Wizard banned Reckoner Bankbuster, and then they look on this card and see that it has 100% inclusion rate in every single mid-range and aggro deck that contains black. And they look at this and they're like, oh yeah, this card is fine. Like, no, you literally need 2 removals in your hand, or you lose on the spot. It's that simple. That card is insane. It single-handedly beats every single counter spell, because it's either you counter him or you remove him, or you get your removal removed. It's super annoying. It's not fun. It makes Control dead. Control basically cannot be played simply because of this card. And it's just super trash and just not fun. And don't even get me started about Boros being basically a 3-mana combo deck. It's honestly, it's not even aggro. I can't even full-heartedly call it aggro deck. It's just honestly combo. Because they get the Gleeful every single time, and then they just need the guy that makes 1 token, which can be a detective or the vampire that gives you blood. And then they win. They just play either Errant Knight of Oz, or they play the Recruiter, and you just lose. On turn 3. Pretty much. And if you're not dead by 3, you're dead by 4. There's nothing you can do. There's no board clear outside of Path of Peril and Lockdown, which isn't that even helpful against them. But yeah, crazy good decks, especially Esper. Esper has just been dominating the meta for 2.5 years by this point, and still they haven't gotten a single ban. None of their cards were touched. And I know some of you may look at Raffine as the main culprit, but it's honestly not it. It's honestly not Raffine. It's the other cards around it, and you can clearly tell because Dimir is still a top meta deck, and it's just basically Esper without the white. So instead of Raffine, you have other like 1-drops with flying that creates infinite tokens or create like crazy stuff, a lot of less speed units. Basically all the units under 3 mana that just win you the game on the spot and your opponent can't deal with them, because if they board clear, you just play 2 more units. If they play a single removal, that's basically a 1-for-1, because you play, let's say, at bare minimum, a Go for the Throat. The only good card is Cut Down against them. But let's say you play the average, which is Go for the Throat. You just lose. You casted the Go for the Throat on like a 1 or 2 mana unit. You're in a loss here. You can't really win. And also, that's just insane to think about. Like, why Control is not playable? You cannot look at a meta where Control isn't being played, there's not a single Control deck, and be like, oh, that's okay. That's not. And listen, I have no problem with aggro being powerful. I just want to play the game. I don't like it when I can't play the game. I want to feel like I have a chance. And whenever I play against Boros or Esper, I feel like it's lost from the get-go, because if you dare to play a deck that goes above 5 mana curve, you just lose, because you're gonna get your stuff batted, then you can't remove them, or you're gonna die on turn 3, basically it, and then you don't get to the good part of your deck. And there's no payoff, there's not really a good thing you can ramp into. The only exception is Atraxa, and yeah, that's pretty much it. I believe, oh my god, it's so annoying. It basically just, robbed me of my creativity. I feel like every single deck that I've tried to build, there's a lot of scrap decks you don't really see. These are just my more recent ones. There were a lot of cool concepts I tried. And yeah, right now, nothing seemed to work against Esper and Boros. That's pretty much, the whole idea and why I haven't been uploading. And by the way, whenever you see someone on YouTube plays an off-meta deck and winning with it, you should always look at the signs on why they're winning. They maybe be at low rank. They may be not playing against Esper or Boros. And if they do, they might have gone lucky. They might have been just lucky. Because let me assure you, no off-meta deck can beat Esper and Boros consistently. Again, consistently. Of course, you can use any deck, and if they like flood, you win, right? Technically. But consistently, on average, you cannot. You literally cannot beat them with any deck that's not like a super hyper aggro or not like competitively viable. None of the off-meta decks seem to work. Nothing enters the current meta right now. Everything is basically garbage. The only thing I can think of that's slightly good is Golgari, and even Golgari just get absolutely massacred by these decks because everything is so cheap. But at least Golgari can hold his ground. But that's not enough. I don't want to play the same 4 or 5 decks over and over again. I want to build fun off-meta decks that are also viable. I'm not saying tier 1, obviously. Off-meta decks can never be tier 1 because then they're not off-meta. But in Legends of Runeterra, I can even deal with the worst possible decks, the worst aggro decks. I mean, worse than the best possible aggro decks like Samira and Fizz. If you know, you know. I could have dealt with them using an off-meta deck. I could have won, and I ended up getting to Masters with them. But here, you just can't. You just can't. You just get dominated. It feels like everyone is playing the same 2 or 3 decks. You just see the same decks over and over again, and it's so boring. The meta is so boring. And it just robs people of creativity, especially me, and I'm not feeling like I want to play the game right now. And that's basically why I wasn't uploading. I think the game is in really big pickle right now. I think Wizards need to ban a lot more than 2 or 3 cards. I think they need to ban like 7 or 10 cards. I'm not even joking. The meta right now is atrocious. You definitely need to make room for more cards, especially now when you don't have rotation and bans need to be more frequent because we have a pool of 3 years of content instead of 2 because we didn't have a rotation. They extended it. And yeah, we just need more bans. That's basically it. And by the way, even after rotation, most of Boros Convoke is gonna stay unrotated. I believe they'll still be viable after this. And that's really scary. That's something I really don't want to see definitely after rotation. But right now, it's a huge problem. And it needs to be solved by Wizard. And until then, I will be slow with my Magic content because I do strive to find the best decks for you to watch. And I don't want to showcase a deck where, you know, I won a game or 2 against like a really bad opponent and be like, yeah, this deck is awesome. Like, that's not me. That's not how I roll. That's not how I want to make my content for you guys. And yeah, that's basically the entire rant. We managed to keep it at exactly 10 minutes. great. You know, my promise has been kept. It was a mild rent indeed. But yeah, thank you guys so much for listening. Apologies if I had any background noise. It's hot as hell in here and my AC is kind of broken. But yeah, that's pretty much all for now. So again, thank you guys so much for being patient with me and watching my videos. But that's all for now. So thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll catch you in the next one.